Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to begin planning for cold protection. And I'm showing you this banyan style Philippinensis on this bench here because I need to move it over to this bench here. And this bench here is much easier to set up a frame because I have 4x4 timbers that I can attach the frame to. So on this table here, you can see part of the old frame that I used for cold protection from last year. So I add an extra piece of wood on the 4x4 so it's level with the 2x4, and then it's just 1x2 fir strips. And most of this is scrap wood. A lot of it I get at one of the big box stores that has 70% off for stuff that's not perfect. But this bench here needs to be cleared of a lot of different things. Right now I have a tray where I do my sifting, and this is expanded clay that they use for hydroponics. And I bought some of that when I collected some trees, and I put them in a mix with this. So that needs to be sifted because you can see it's got a whole lot of sand in there. So that needs to be done. Then I have some little baby desert rose. Then we have a very interesting type of succulent that produces a beautiful yellow flower, and it actually produced seed. So now I have a whole bunch of little seedlings. And yes, my oak trees are dropping leaves everywhere. And I have the Iliagnus cuttings that I took from my bonsai, and they are very not drought tolerant, cold tolerant, so they don't need to be on this bench. I have podocarpus that are seedlings that are also very cold tolerant. They don't need to be on this bench. I also have some bald cypress. This group is in a nursery can that was cut to about 4 or 5 inches. And this group here is in a mud tray that was drilled with drainage holes. I have an ilex shillings that doesn't need cold protection. And then there are some that do. This is a pink pixie bougainvillea. And as we move down the line, we have some everbearing mulberry, which I also don't think need cold protection. There's some really ratty looking pink tabebuia, which is based on the fact that I got these trees in a very exposed area. The seed from the trees, they don't need cold protection. Oh look, my bougainvillea is sending out one little tiny flower. And these are all of the parrot's beak that I dug up from under the bench. So they've grown like crazy. They need cold protection. And I have kind of a mishmash of stuff. So here are some Chinese fan palms that I'm going to put into my landscape that really don't need cold protection either. And of course they're not bonsai either. Then I have what's called a tractor seat plant, which is just a cool plant. I love this thing. And the leaves do look like a tractor seat. If you can get that guy out of there. They're just very cool. And they're flowering. And I got one little baby. Where's the baby? Here he is. That's the baby. From last year's seed I got one. But one is more than zero. And then we've just got a mishmash of stuff. As it goes down the bench, it's just a giant mess. So a lot of cleanup to do. And I wanted, because it's already the 1st of December, and the average earliest freeze where I live here is the 15th of December. Now that doesn't happen all the time, but we've had 2 cold snaps already. So, and then if we go to this bench here, I want to take this bald cypress grove, which has here's a Ficus triangulata that I'm going to work on in the spring. And then I have some elm trees that are also very tolerant of cold, so they don't need to move. And then I have a couple of collected ilex shillings that are also very cold tolerant. There's one here, and there's one here. But once again, it's just kind of an eclectic mix. I have some dwarf pineapple. I have a couple of portulacaria hiding in here. There's some sea hibiscus right here. And then I have things that aren't even close to being bonsai. These are nasturtium seedlings. And these guys that they've kind of fried up, and I don't know why. But most of them are still alive. Those are red hot cattails, a dwarf form of red hot cattails. Then there's this pot here, which is just doing absolutely nothing except taking up space. That has gazania daisies, and the two bigger ones, which are the only ones that are surviving, each have a flower, bud. And these are seed that I got, and boy, they're just struggling so badly. So I have so much. This is a 90% dead sage, the kind of sage, you know, your culinary sage. So this guy here, because this bench is taller than this bench here, I'm going to use an inclined plane. So I'm going to take a 2x12, put it under this pot. I cannot lift this pot. There's just no way. That's one problem with being one person and being 68 years old. It's just, there's no way I can lift that. And I'm afraid, and it's a fairly cheap concrete pot, and I'm afraid it's going to break even if I tried to lift it. Because I have another pot exactly the same, and it did break. So, inclined plane, bring this guy over to the edge of this bench. These little baby desert rose, they need cold protection, but they're going to go somewhere else. And then I'm planning on moving. Oh, here's an interesting little group of plants. These are onions, edible onions, that I'm about to put in the ground somewhere. And here's another view of that collected ilex shillings. And then some, just a whole bunch of weird stuff. This is called a bird pepper. Makes little tiny peppers that are also hot, like habanero hot. Then there's the other side of the elms. And then we have the bald cypress grove. And it is also way too heavy for me to pick up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it from where it is now all the way. And here's some more of that succulent that I took the seeds from. These are last year's seedlings, and they are growing like crazy. And here is a tray of very poorly performing portulacarias. So I'm going to drag the bald cypress grove, which is about 12 feet from the edge, and put it where the philippensis is, because I can't work on it where it is now. You can't even see the front, and it's just too ungainly. So that's my plan, and I need to get going. I'm a procrastinator. In fact, I usually delay procrastination. I delay procrastinating. That's how much of a procrastinator I am. Say that 10 times fast and it sounds just goofy. So anyway, first order of business is wait for it to warm up a little bit, because we got another cold snap. It's cold. I'm cold. I'm a wimp. I don't like cold. I need to sift this soil and put it into storage. Oh, and here's some of the fines that I have already sifted with some oak leaves, and you can see just, oh, and it got wet in the last rain, but you can see just how fine it is. This stuff kills bonsai. You got to get rid of that fine sand. Now, it's plainly obvious this stuff has a lot of fine sand, and that's from the tree that I dug up. You don't want to remove all of the soil from a collected tree, and so it died, and so now I've got a tremendous amount of sand just sitting in this soil here, if you can call it soil. This is hydroponic, expanded clay. I forget what they actually call it. And then I will build the frame. So this frame here has been up all year long. And I will not do that again next year. You can see right here, this upright has warped tremendously. So put up the frame in preparation for covering it all with plastic. And then, if we do get a freeze, lay the plastic over the frame. And then once spring comes, which I keep saying is here is the 15th of February, take the plastic off and take the frame down too. You know how many times I've hit my head on the top here? So, and here's my parrot's beak in ice cream containers. And I have another eclectic bunch of stuff. This is just a weed, milkweed. And here's a red marigold that is just crazy, going crazy, beautiful. And it's actually rooted into this seed bed that I tried to plant a bunch of tropical fruit because I belong to the Tropical Fruit Club. And the germination rate was pitiful, horrible, so I'm pretty disappointed about that. So this is just a lot of weeds in here. And then here's some Premna, which also need cold protection. Some of these have some interesting movement that I will be working on in the future. So if I ever had anything clean and just neat and everything all in a row, that would probably be the end of me. Anyway, and I think that we're ready to harvest some seed off of this red marigold. I have a huge flower garden in the front, like on the other side of this fence, but it's all just seedlings and nothing has begun to flower. But when it does, I will show you because I think it's really going to be very cool. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to let you know my plans for cold protection. I know there are some people up north that already had some pretty extensive snow. And it's like, I lived in Chicago as a kid. Once I got to Florida to go to college in 1976, I never lived in Chicago again. So, this bench needs to be cleared of all of the cold hardy material, and all that stuff moved to a different bench. Get rid of the tray, sift this soil, move my Philippinensis banyan down onto that bench, and then begin moving my tropical material into the spaces vacated by the things like the bald cypress. Just this bald cypress group of seedlings in this pot and in this mud tray will give me a huge amount of space to put tropicals. So, there you go. A cold morning, December 1st, 2024. It's hard to believe that 2024 is only 1 month away from being over. So, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'll keep you posted. If you subscribe and hit the notification bell, I'll keep you posted on the progress of getting this thing ready for the frame and plastic. And of course, continue to work on trees. Although in the winter here, there's not a lot of quote-unquote work. I don't do any root pruning or repotting this time of year on anything. On my temperate trees, my junipers and elms and the ilex shillings, I wait until about January 1st to do that. But it's coming soon. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Are your benches as disheveled as mine? Well, I should be blessed. I should think I'm blessed for having the space to have this much bench space. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.